my door? To my rig?
I can sort this, right? I just need time.
Don't you answer me, but
It's 1975, and we're on a spooky oil rig off the coast of Scotland. Our main guy is Cameron, Kaz McClary, an electrician trying to escape some trouble he got into back home. This oil rig is in bad shape, and to make matters worse, most of the workers are gone for the holidays. Kaz starts meeting the other workers, like Roy, the chef who's also his friend, and Trots, the union representative who's constantly complaining about how dangerous the rig is. Soon, Kaz is called to the foreman's office, a grumpy guy named Rennick. Rennick basically threatens Kaz and tells him to work harder. Right after that tense meeting, things get even crazier. One of the workers, Gregor, falls off the rig. Kaz manages to pull him out of the water, but when they go back to look for him, Gregor is gone. And that's when things start to get really weird. There's a huge explosion when the drill hits something strange. One of the workers, Gibbo, gets hurt and starts acting super strange. Kaz starts seeing this weird fleshy stuff growing all over the rig. It's like something out of a nightmare. He even finds another worker, Douglas, dead. This creepy growth is spreading everywhere, and it's getting dangerous. Kaz tries to warn everyone, but nobody believes him. He keeps seeing more freaky stuff, like the remains of another worker in the control room. He tries to escape on a lifeboat, but the rope snaps and the boat sinks. Then, Rennick calls Kaz to the helipad for an evacuation, but guess what? Rennick takes off without Kaz and the other workers. The helicopter crashes into the rig, and Kaz is knocked out. When he wakes up, he finds a letter that reveals Rennick knew about the trouble Kaz was in back home. Just when you think it can't get worse, the generators fail, and the rig starts to sink. Kaz has to fix the generators and then go down to the pontoons, which help keep the rig afloat. Down in the pontoons, he sees his friends transformed into terrifying monsters. He also hears voices, including his wife's, and almost drowns when the pontoons start flooding. Escaping the flooded pontoons, Kaz realizes that this weird growth is now covering most of the rig. He also sees oil leaking, which could cause a huge explosion. Brody, another worker, tells Kaz about a problem with the flare stack, which could also blow up the whole rig. Kaz has to fix it, all while being chased by one of his monster friends. Kaz manages to light the flare stack, but it collapses, and he's knocked out again. He wakes up under the rig, hearing more voices and seeing more remnants of his friends. He talks to Finley and Brody, who tell him they have a plan to save the rig, but it's super risky. Kaz has to go to marine control, which means swimming through flooded parts of the rig and avoiding even more monsters. He finally gets there and meets Roper, the drilling foreman, who's gone completely bonkers. Roper gives Kaz a key and tells him to flood the forward pontoon. Kaz does it, and the rig levels out. Finley tells Kaz to meet her in drill ops, but Roper attacks him. Kaz escapes and finds Finley, but Brody is still trapped in the flooded pontoons. Finley tells Kaz that the rig is going to explode because of the oil and gas leaks. Brody calls Kaz to say goodbye and tells him to escape, but Finley runs off with a lighter, determined to blow up the rig herself. Kaz chases after Finley, but it's too late. She's crushed by falling debris. Kaz picks up the lighter and walks into the heart of the rig. He sees the true form of this terrifying entity, a massive, eating blob of flesh. Kaz drops the lighter, and the whole rig explodes. In the end, no one survives. Kaz wakes up in the afterlife, where he's reunited with his wife, Sue. The game ends with Sue reading a letter she wrote to Kaz, talking about her love for him and wanting to fix their relationship. So, yeah, Still Wakes the Deep is one intense and terrifying game.